Okay, so this is the third video of the final. So we're at the point where we created our web page, and important to save a file, save as Illustrator file, and I'm going to save it into the folder that says web page, and continue. Okay, so now we're going to do, before, one of the requirements is to break all your text apart to outlines. We're going to do that last. And we'll create a new file and create that last. So what we're going to do now is create the banners that's going to go on the top, banner number 1 and banner number 2. Okay, so if you look at the requirement sheet again, you have a banner that's 728 by 90 and a banner that's 300 by 250. So a couple ways we can do this. We can create a new file, and we can create 728 by 90 RGB 72 pixels, and we'll call this web. In this instance, I'm actually going to create just one file and 2 artboards. I didn't want to do that for within the web page, but it's fine to do it for the banners because you'll have the files right next to you. So I'm going to use the color scheme for my book jacket and my color elements. So I'm going to copy some of these. I believe my blue is already RGB. Yep. So I'm going to copy some of these elements, orange, the blue, some of the squares and all this other good stuff. And then the type I'm going to copy. I'm going to copy all these elements and bring them into the web banner. So I sort of have them, I didn't copy the orange. Copy the orange, bring them into the web banner, scale that down. So just to have the colors on the side, it'll be easy to just source them. Okay, so now that I have that, I can just select and drag my colors into the swatches panel like we did the first time. Now, of course, if we did this as a artboard in the other file, then we wouldn't have to do the colors again. So I'm going to delete all these. Okay. All right. So I'm going to, for our web banner, we're going to, just advertise, upcoming event. So I'm going to use, and the cool thing about it is, again, you can just select the rectangle, click on it once, type in 728 by 90. Right? If you remember the last color that I have, instead of trying to line it up, I can just go with the align tool, and I can go align to artboard, and I can select center vertically and horizontally, right? So I'll get a perfect alignment with the rectangle. So some of the elements that you have to have for the web banner, you have to have some elements from the poster of the book, at least one image. You can have the image of the book. You can have a headline, some body, and a call to action is important. So we want somebody to do something with this banner, click on it. We want them to be able to, download something. So in this instance, we want somebody to, register for the event, let's say, or learn more about the event. So let's see, we use this headline, and let's say we say, annual event, come to our. Okay, so I'm making it smaller, making the font smaller, and I'm closing up the lettering. So you can find all these tools when you hit Control T. You can change the font here with one shot, and you can change the lettering if you have 2 lines. You can change the spacing after each line. So I'm going to make, so this be my headline. I'm going to make that white. I'm going to bring it to the front. Shift, Control, and bracket. Okay, and make this a little bit bigger and open it up. So it's okay if you go to 2 lines, just make sure your lettering is a little bit tighter so you don't have a lot of space in between each line. So I've got my banner text, and then maybe the secondary headline could be the date, right? So I'm going to make that white. and I'm gonna make it, March 6th, 2016 to make that slightly smaller than the header. I'll close up this box, and I'm going to then, maybe here. I still have these other elements that I can add in. So maybe I have, some of these. I'm gonna move my orange to the back, so everything else will be in the front. Now again, I don't have like the best graphics in here, but you will probably have way much better graphics to make your banner look a little bit cooler than mine. I'm gonna take out the black outline on that. So I'm gonna use the blue. So that's my other color. There's an outline on that. And then I think I had a star in here. And the star is blue. Okay. So we have a star. Now, let's say I wanted to, so I needed a call to action. So maybe what I'll do is, this will be my call to action button. So I like the rounded edges buttons. Close up some of these. So I already have a rectangle on here. And this will be my call to action button. So I'm going to extend it. And I want to make a little bit of a, so I could use a shape tool that's up here. And I can then pull down this menu to get the cover rounded edges. I need to make that, let's say 6 all the way around. So let's make that 6. Okay. So I didn't. So I need to make that. So all the edges made them 6. Okay. And then so I have to have some kind of call to action on in my button. And maybe I use the same text again. So a lot of times I like to use, reuse the same text that I've already created, so I don't have to keep retyping over the same font and choosing the same font over and over. So I just copy that and I just change, so maybe register now. It's too big, so I make it a little bit smaller. Maybe I can change the, make the font a little bit bolder. So I have a header, I have some copy. You don't want to put too much copy on the banner because eventually somebody's going to click it and then take them to the web page. Now in this instance, of course, this will probably be a banner that'll go on a home page. So it wouldn't be, or it may be a banner going on somebody else's website to take them to your website. But in this instance, for our final, we'll just be putting everything together. So I have these elements. So in this one, I'm not going to use the book, but maybe I've used some other graphical elements. Once you have some graphical elements in the banner, it's fine. You don't have to use the book cover per se in both, but definitely on one of these, I want to use the book jacket or the book cover. So on the 300 by 250 one, I'll use the book. All right, and I had a square on here somewhere. Okay, so I've created some kind of element that I can use for, so I'll save that, and I'll save that under my banners folder. Okay, beautiful. So now we've created a 728 by 90. We can then create another artboard. So we go to our artboards. Here. So go to our artboards, and what I like to do sometimes with the artboard is just duplicate what I've already created. That way I don't have to retype any of the stuff, I just have to reconfigure the size. So once you create one artboard, just duplicate it. Now be careful if you have any elements that are overlapping, it's going to duplicate too. So make sure and close those in. So now what I want to do is with the second artboard, I like to name my artboards too, so just I know which one is which. So 728 by 90 will be the first one. And that will always help you when you have like multiple artboards on your page. And the sizes are much closer. Obviously 300 by 250 is more of a square. Okay, so I'm going to then click out here. And then I'm going to choose Preferences. Sorry, Document Setup. Edit Artboards. That's going to give me the opportunity to change the values from 300 to 250. So now I have a square, right? A square artboard. So all I gotta do now is just hold down the edges and either move them in, or I could punch the numbers in and do the same thing we did the first time, which is make sure it's centered. So here, I just have to rearrange the elements themselves. I'm using the same elements. Now if I center this text, I can center the entire thing within the artboard. So once I've aligned to artboard, I can just center that. I can center the register and the button. Now I still have to, so on this one I'm going to use the book, so I will say, download annual, download CEO's book. I'm going to center that too. Maybe use some of the graphics. So I need to get the book cover from this file. So anything I need to do is just, copy. So drag right here and copy that, and all the elements are underneath that, the flap. I just copy from right here, right? I just drag and copy this. I'm going to group it and copy it and move it in to this element right here. Now obviously it's much bigger, so I'm going to then reduce it by 50%. Now notice I have the book and the background the same color, so that wouldn't be a good idea. So what I'll probably do is just change this color to the blue, and then change the banner to maybe yellow. So you just have to rearrange the color scheme a little bit, once you decide, how you're going to fit the book in there. Now everything is grouped in there, so I can scale it down like that. So now I need to rearrange just a little bit. So maybe what I'll do is, I'll scale the text down about 80%. You can make it into 3 lines. So you have the leeway to, certainly change the size of the font. Keep the same font, but change it. You may or may not need all the elements in there. Maybe the date has to go on 2 lines. So, you can certainly, move the elements around. If things overlap, I'm grouping the call to action. If things overlap a little bit, it's fine. You can have elements overlapping. And I might need the book to be a little bit bigger. I may even, have some of the book, slightly off the edge, like that. It's fine. You want your call to actions to be nice and big so people can download. You can line things up. Now remember, I had everything aligned to the artboard. So if you want to align it to each other, you have to change the align to selection. And then you could align left and then move it around. Maybe I don't need these other elements because I have the book in there now. You can move things around like that. And there you go. So you've designed now 2 elements. You've designed your 728 by 90 and your 300 by 250. And I use the same color scheme for the most part. And I can maybe add some yellow in there. But at least they're relatable, right? This one had the orange color and I used the blue background. On this one I had the orange background. So in the last video, what I'll do is show you how to put these 2 elements into the Illustrator file. And we'll come back with the last video, video number 4.